people, my people, my people, people, my people, my people, my people. Let's get it popping, y'all. Pretty Petty Tuesday. Ready to rock? I am. What's going on now? Tonight on the Daily Go Get a Business Show, we talking about the good and bad second chance and the third strike. The good and the bad second chance and the third strike. What you know? Well, I tell you what I know. I know that sometimes we give people too many chances to stab us in the back, to hurt our feelings, to make us look bad, humiliate us, have us out there looking all crazy, got us thinking that we're crazy, energetic, or lazy. Yo, maybe we should make our better choices and take our better chances. But the romance is one that makes us feel that we're having a lot of fun, and one next thing you know, we're under the gun. Well, the good and bad second chances. Let me break this down. When we talk about the good and bad second chances, you can give somebody second chances to either do better, or you can give somebody a second chance in order to do you in better. And sometimes our desire for that person, sometimes our love for that person, affection for that person, friendship with that person, whatever the case may compel us to let somebody put us in a position where we are actually being abused by them. So if we are the one who afforded them the second, third, fourth, fifth chances, whatever, can we blame them? Can we blame them? Or are we just really whining and crying? You know, one thing about this movement, this daily go-getterism movement, is that we talk about taking accountability. It can't just be somebody else's fault all the time, even when we are victimized. At some point, we have to, get ourselves together and say, no more. I'm not going to let you do this thing no more. I got to change my mind. I got to do something else. I got to find a way for us to be better and not have to whine. Word. So when we talk about the good and bad second choice, the good and bad second chances, we're speaking a lot about the way that we allow things, the people that we invite, the ability that we give people to either be good for us or be bad for us. And when we talk about the third strike thing, well, by the time you get to the whole baseball analogy with the third strikes, you know that you've already gotten past the second chance. If we're talking about the third strike, you know that we've gotten past the second chance when we start talking about the third strike. But are we really aware of what we are saying to a person or what we're giving a person when we decide to give them more chances to hurt us or help us, hurt themselves or help themselves? It would be a lot easier if all of us had good intentions when we reach out to people or when we allow people into our lives. Not all of us are good people, man. And all of us have been exposed to people who weren't good people, who presented themselves to be good people. Nobody is usually worse than a person that presents themselves as a good person. Once they start doing all of the self-promotion about I'm good, I never do this, I've never done that, blah, 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 blah. A lot of times those are the very people who are the con men, who are the little sinister, opportunistic, always stirring the pot, always got something going on, always like to see something happening, always waiting to spill the tea type of people. But let them tell it. No, I'm always good. I've done a few bad things in my life, some things that I'm ashamed of or that I'm not proud of. But for the most part, I've always kept it 100. I've always been straight up with people. People be lying when they say that. And we've definitely, we, us, have all come across people who presented themselves to be 100%, 10 toes down, solid as a rock. And They were as mushy as silly putty. Play-Doh. Shout out to Play-Doh. Remember Play-Doh? Wasn't Play-Doh a fun clay? Play-Doh was all of that until somebody left the damn lid off of that Play-Doh can. And once Play-Doh goes bad, Play-Doh is done, ain't it? Ain't it? Play-Doh is done once it's exposed to the world too long. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Play-Doh, all fun and games, will mold itself into anything you want it to do. It has pretty colors and it's all good. Play-Doh. Until you leave that lid off of it for too long. All it takes is overnight and Play-Doh was done. Remember how you tried to bring Play-Doh back to life? Putting water on it, putting water in the can, trying to get Play-Doh to act like Play-Doh was supposed to act, trying to bring the fun back to Play-Doh. But once Play-Doh was exposed to the world too long, Play-Doh became what it really was. And that was hard, something that couldn't be played with anymore. So you couldn't even give Play-Doh a second chance. There was no second chance for Play-Doh. Shout out to Play-Doh. Shout out to Play-Doh. Listen, if anybody was successful or has been successful with bringing Play-Doh back to life, let me know. Because I had a lot of Play-Doh in my life. I've played with a lot of Play-Doh, and I was never able to get Play-Doh to come back to life and be a good guy like Play-Doh was in the beginning. Maybe you could. I know that I couldn't. So let's go back to what we were talking about with these people with these second chances. With these second chances. Are the people that we're giving second chances to, are we giving them a second chance to help themselves be better people and to treat us better? Because we are the jewel that they should be happy to have around. Look at us. We are warm. We are kind. We are giving. We are loving. We are accommodating. Why would they want to do us dirty? Why would they want to do us bad? Why would they be undisciplined and hurtful towards us? Why? 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 Right? Right? Okay. But you know that they are. Plenty of people have been. But the thing is, if we recognize that, and there are some people who we recognize are not really that good of the type of person that we would like to be around more. We've seen people snake other people, do other people dirty and wrong. We've seen it. I've seen it. You've seen it. Did we check them? Or did we sort of think about it a little bit and think, well, the reason that they did that to that person was because that person did this, that, and the third. Or they had it coming, or they deserved it, whatever. But they wouldn't do that to me because I'm not that type of person. Plus, they have nothing but respect and love for me. Yeah, it's nice for us to think that way now, isn't it? It's cute. It sure is. Until the reality of how that person is comes to bite us in the ass. And the way that it comes to bite us in the ass is when we give them the chance for them to do just that. So where's our accountability? We gave them the second chance. Is the second chance overrated? You know, there are plenty of people who say, nah, no second chances. You get one chance to do right by me. And if you don't do right by me, then you're out of here. You're out of here. 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 If we want to check somebody else, we got to check ourselves first. Because ain't no use in checking nobody else whose behavior we cannot control if we can't even control our own behavior. if we can't even control our own desires, if we cannot even control our own ways of moving. Change your ways. How many times have anybody ever told you that in your life? Yo, you got to change your ways. Your grandmama might have told you that you needed to change your ways, and she told you that when you was like 8. You got to change your ways. Youngin', you got to change your ways. And she was probably right. Only thing, you were so young, you really needed to develop your ways. Develop your ways. Okay. So the second chance, is the second chance overrated? Is the second chance overrated? How about this? Is the second chance overrated for you? Forget about everybody else for a minute. Is the second chance overrated for you? You. Because it might be. You may have gotten to the point right now where second chance is just not a possibility. It's not an option. It's not an option for most people because you've been burnt too many times for the second chance. By the second chance. My late great father, my late great daddy, all believed that everybody deserved a second chance. He honestly and wholeheartedly believed that people learn and they grow from the situations that they've been put in. So, he believed that they acted from the place of the conditioning that they had wherever they were in their lives. But once they saw better and were treated better, then they would perform better. He believed that. I didn't believe it. I always thought like we need to make an adjustment on this whole second chance thing. Like I believe that decent people deserve a second chance because they may have made a mistake or they may have been unprepared. So they should get a second chance to do better. But I don't believe that bad people should get a second chance because you may give a bad person a second chance to kill you. Like they were unsuccessful the first time. And I mean literally kill you. I don't mean to spiritually kill you off. I mean, somebody may have tried to shoot you or stab you or beat you up or really try to murder you. Maybe you recover from your wounds and they were caught by the police and incarcerated and all that kind of stuff. And maybe you believe that that they should get that they paid their debt to society and went to therapy, got counseling and everything like that. So they deserve a second chance to do better in life or make a decent contribution to humanity in this world. Maybe you believe that. Maybe you forgave them. Maybe you believe that they deserve a second chance to be forgiven. Well, that's your choice. That's your choice. Does that have to be the choice of for everybody? Is that even the choice of a new generation? Well, I don't know. T. Carey, right? Morning, noon, and night. It's always great to have my peoples going directly into your site. And Stacy White, thanks for coming through. It's good to see me some YOU. And Norris Hill, too. That's my brother from another mother, Norris Hill. Sit back, relax, do your thing, max and chill. And Shirley Cheryl, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. It's always great to see you, girl. Carol Chamberlain, me friend, me favorita. Always great to see ya. What's up, y'all? Good to see me some y'all, man. So we're talking about the good and bad second chances. You're going to give somebody a second chance to stab you? If somebody shot at you in the gun jam, you going to wait until they oil up the gun and shoot you? Or if they ran out of bullets, you know what I mean? They shot at you, and they kept missing. You going to wait until they pop another clip in there and shoot at you again? All second chances ain't good. That's why the name of this show is the good and bad second chance, because sometimes you may be thinking that you're doing good by giving somebody a second chance in life, and you may be doing yourself a really bad disservice. You may be putting the gun in the hand of your murderer. And I don't know about you, but I ain't with all that. I ain't with all that. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Let me see what we talking about tonight. Tunisia. Carol Chamberlain says, in some cases it is. Okay, all right. And she said, excuse me. The scenario is not worthy of a second chance. That scenario is not worthy of a second chance. I understand. He said, for me anyway. Stacy White says, my circle is so small. When God shows me who you are, I had to learn to believe him. Okay. Narciso says, for me, some people are fortunate to receive pity forgiveness and deserve to seek a second and third chance in other parts of the world. I can understand that. And it is a judgment call. But we have to be responsible in our leniency and in our admission. You know, if we give somebody a second chance, or if we're about to get into this whole third strike thing. The whole third strike thing. Friendly game of baseball. Third strike. We gonna get into that in a minute. But as far as this second strike thing is concerned, we're not always giving people a second chance for a good thing, even when it's us. Sometimes there's some people who give people a second chance that really aren't second chances. Let me explain what I mean by that. Have you ever known anybody that was slick and manipulative to the point where they wanted to get violations on people? Okay, let me break it down a little. Let me break it down a little easier. Let's say a man and a woman are together. A man and a woman are together. They both like each other. Maybe they love each other or on their way to loving each other and all of that. And let's say the woman in a relationship doesn't really trust her man. Maybe she thinks that he has a roving eye, or maybe he has an ex that she doesn't appreciate, and she thinks that he may either be giving her the time of day, or she may be pushing forward to try to mess up your relationship. So that could be making her uncomfortable to the point where she may feel justified in trying to put in his mind that he's messing up when he really ain't messing up. So it's like, well, you were supposed to call me Saturday night and you ain't called me on Saturday night. So you was probably out with somebody. You was probably doing something with somebody. You was probably doing something you ain't had no business doing. Now this man ain't done nothing. But she's already got it in his mind that, all right, see, you messing up. You messing up a good thing here. Here I am just trying to be with you, just trying to love you, and you shitting on me. But I'm going to give you a second chance. Now that man, he's weak. Or weak for her. He's like, oh man, I'm messing up with this joint. I don't want to mess up with her. I'm going to have to get myself straight. He might not have called her on Saturday night because he was tired or he worked all day or whatever the case may be. But sometimes when we like somebody more than we probably should like them, or more than they deserve to be liked at the time, and they are an insecure and manipulative type of person, that we might let them get away with issuing violations to us that we haven't really committed. So now we already on our second strike, third strike, or whatever, and we ain't done nothing. But in our mind, they got us thinking that we messing up. Y'all know anything about that? Even if it never happened to you, it doesn't mean that you might be the person that did it to somebody else. And you know how bad people, you know how they talk, and you know how how they justify things. Well, you got to do what you got to do out here. All's fair in love and war. Well, I'm not proud of everything that I did, but what I did for love and blah, 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 diggy, diggy. You know what I'm talking about. So things like that. So, the second chance. They're giving you a second chance, but you haven't even messed up one time yet. But they already got you on the second chance thing. So you walking on pins and needles and on eggshells, and you know what I mean? They got you uptight. You don't deserve that. You ain't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. So sometimes that second chance ain't really right. That's the bad second chance. The good second chance is like, yeah, you have been out here messing up. You have been out here messing up. Let's say somebody told you a secret, and you know it was a secret. You know it was a private thing. You know it was a private thing. And you know how it is. People run their mouth. Well, just keep that between me and you. Because they kept it between, you were supposed to keep it between them and you, but you went and told somebody else, talking about just keep that between me and you, because ain't nobody supposed to know. What happens with that person? They keep it between them and somebody else, and so on and so on and so on. And that's how rumors get started, and that's how private things no longer remain private. So what if you were the common denominator? Like that person told you this private thing, and they didn't tell nobody else, and they know they didn't tell anybody else. They know they didn't even dream about it to nobody else. They know they didn't even tell God, but they told you. And so if anybody else knows, it's because you let it out. Yeah, and let's say you got caught, you definitely told, and they know that you did it, and they called you on it. Well, it might be a good second chance if they say, all right, you know what, that was messed up, and you really put me in a tight spot by telling this private thing, because now I have to do damage control, and this is just not good. All right, so they gave you a second chance. That might be a good second chance, but then again, it might be a bad second chance because you've already proven yourself to be unworthy of full trust. You got diarrhea of the mouth, and that person let you live. They said, all right, well, I just know not to share certain things with this person, but I'm still give them a second chance to be my friend. We still gonna be fam. We still gonna be cool. You know what I mean? I still got love for you. I'm not even gonna stop doing any of the things that I was doing with you, except telling you certain things because you kind of goofed that up. Is that the good second chance? It really can be. But it could also be the bad second chance, because how do you know that this person who shared this private information that you clearly told them was private, secret, classified, and under wraps? How do you know that by them sharing that, how do you know that is an indicator that they would also violate you in other ways? How do you know that they're not somewhere making up stuff about you? They spread the things about you that was true. What about the stuff that's not true? How do you know they're not doing that? Well, I know, or should I say, I think, no, I know this. We all have to trust somebody in our lives. We talk about, I can't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody. It's not true. We all trust somebody. We all trust somebody. And we should. We should. You can't go through this whole world without trusting somebody on some level. And there are levels. There are levels low. There are levels mid. There are levels high. Low, mid tier, high, top tier. You're going to trust somebody on one of those tiers because you have to. You have no choice. When you work at a job, you got to trust that they will pay you every 2 weeks or however the pay scale goes. You have to trust them. It's reliability. And if you expect somebody to trust you, you have to be willing to trust somebody. It's a give and take. You don't have to fully trust them. You know, you don't have to give them the keys to your house or let them see your social security number or your birth certificate. But you have to trust somebody on some level just to be able to navigate yourself through this world, just to be able to get through a day. A day. All right. I mean, you buy a product from the store. You have to trust that it's a product that won't blow up in your face. All right, let's do this intro. Urban Therapy with Sun 752 with this your daily, the daily go get him show. We do this every single day, every single day, every day, every day it rains, every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. We break it down, baby. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. I'm your host, Sun 752, aka Omar, with the. And if you can't say Omar with the, well, then you just say Omar with the R. This is the Daily Go Get Mism Show, all up in your area. I'm feeling like a real man should, and I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should. Also tonight on the Daily Go Get Mism Show, this pretty petty Tuesday, we are talking about the good and bad second chance and the third strike. It's time for us to talk about the third strike. People be bitching about the third strike, don't they? Let me see what y'all talking about. See what y'all talking about and read some of these comments. Okay, sure. Wait a minute. Shirley says, wasn't it Al B. Shore who came up with the song Second Chance? I don't know. I never heard of that song. But I know one thing. I never liked Al B. Shore. Yeah, I know, night and day, and off on your own, girl. I ain't like. All right. Nara says that was El DeBarge. Oh, okay. Stacey White says, I don't like when people is not forgiving when people is not forgiving to a person when they made mistakes in their life, and just because they don't talk about their mistakes it's not your job to bring their mistakes up. Understandable. Carol Chamberlain says that would be their insecurities. Oh, okay. When we was talking about the whole the violation thing. Okay, Nora says making the next person pay for the ex's mistakes, like Chris Rock said, grand opening, grand closing. Oh, grand opening, grand closing. TK Wright says, I say that all the time, Norris. Grand opening, grand closing. Shoot, it was first time I ever heard that. That was Hove said that. Jay-Z. Grand opening, grand closing. Did Chris Rock say it before Jay-Z said it? I thought that was Jay-Z. Jay-Z. Nobody's buying your records. You can call Jay-Z. Problem with other rappers? You can call Jay-Z. You can call Jay-Z. Speaking of Jay-Z, this is a side note. In 1998, who do y'all consider to be more on top? DMX or Jay-Z? I had a discussion online with somebody who said Jay-Z is the GOAT, but he's never been on top any year in hip-hop in his career. And I was like, 1998, hard knock life. Sold 5 million records. And the boy came back and he said, nah. He said DMX 1998, that was DMX year, because he dropped 2 albums and he did 5 times platinum for It's Dark as Hell and It's Dark and Hell is Hot, and 3.5 million for Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Now, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood came out in like December of 2000. I'm sorry, of 1998. So I really would consider that to be a 1999 album, because it didn't sell that many copies. And I don't think it sold that much inside of 1998. But you could say, well, by him dropping 2 albums, that was that was that was his year. I'm not so, I don't know. I want to know what y'all think about that, because in 1998, that was Jay-Z's breakout year. And the tour that DMX was on was called the Hard Knock Life Tour. That was the name of the tour. The Hard Knock Life Tour. Jay-Z, and then they did Backstage and all that. So I'm like, what do you think? For my hip hop heads who know about this kind of thing, like him saying that Jay-Z was never on top in any year, I'm like, no, no. I think Hard Knock Life was definitely his biggest selling album, but Jay-Z owned his company. He owned Rockefeller. He was a part owner of Rockefeller Records. So do you know how much money he made from that album? That was a can't lose album. Okay. Anyway, 3 strikes. The 3 strikes thing. Friendly game of baseball. 3 strikes and you're out. But we know that 3 strikes is more than a second chance. And the other part about this baseball analogy, when we start talking about 3 strikes, well, 3 strikes can seem like a lot of chances when it's something that probably shouldn't have made it past the first chance. However, when you feel like it's something that needs to be developed over time, 3 strikes may not seem fair. Let's go to the 1994 crime bill. The crime bill that a lot of black people blame Joe Biden for. He came up with the 1994 crime bill. 3 strikes and you're in jail for life. 3 strikes. And then when you really think about the 3 strikes thing, when you think about being a felon, and in order to qualify for being a felony is a criminal offense punishable by a minimum of 1 year in prison. So, if you assault somebody, aggravated assault, that's a felony. Assault itself could be a misdemeanor. But aggravated assault is absolutely a felony. Stealing, theft is often a misdemeanor. But grand theft, which is any theft of over $1,000, is grand larceny. Grand larceny, and that's a felony. So you know that if anybody has been convicted of a felony, they were convicted of an offense that carried an incarceration sentence of 1 year minimum. So they've done at least 1 year in jail, in prison, upstate. Felonies or felons do not spend time in the county jail. They got to go upstate. They got to go up north. Okay. So when we think about the 1994 crime bill, and we blame Joe Biden for that, and by no means am I here to defend Joe Biden. If anything, I'll defend truth. And the truth of the matter is, Joe Biden was working under the presidency of Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton, for all his Democratic nominee status, was probably the most right-wing, probably the most right-wing policies of any Democratic politician ever. Under Bill Clinton's regime, under his administration, we don't have regimes, we have administration. The 1994 crime bill, privatizations of prisons, Rockefeller laws. You know, if you were caught with a certain amount of crack cocaine versus powder cocaine, then you was in jail. Probably still there. Well, Obama got rid of the Rockefeller laws, you know, for all of the people who say he didn't do anything for black people. When you start talking about crack, you are definitely talking about black people. But anyway, so if you know that a felony is an offense that carries a minimum of 1 year jail time, do you think that do you think that it's unreasonable for a person to be punished harshly if they've done it 3 times? Now, we might say it depends on the felony. If somebody stole something 3 times, they shouldn't get a life sentence. But when you start taking into consideration what they stole, what if they stole somebody's life savings 3 times? So they've ruined somebody's whole financial situation and the birthright of their children. So, you know, the generational wealth that they worked so hard to create for their descendants is all ruined because of this person, and they did it 3 times for in 3 different situations. You don't think that you don't think that the 3 strike rule is a harsh penalty? See, the whole situation starts to get a little different when it comes to our personal situations, when we feel it. When it becomes something that we can feel, it becomes way different. And you know how we say when it hits home, when it gets too close to home, or when it hits home, then we start changing our minds about things. So you think that if a person killed somebody once, well, maybe it was self-defense, or maybe it was them or you, or maybe it was justified. All right, so they kill a person twice. They killed 2 people, 2 different offenses, 2 different times. Well, maybe, you know, it was a bad luck of the draw. They were at the wrong place at the wrong time twice. So you got 3 people, 3 different offenses, 3 different counts of murder. 3 different people, 3 different times, 3 different situations. So you don't think that a life sentence for that person is unreasonable? You got 3 people dead. Most of us have never killed a person, never even gotten close to doing it. You mean to tell me that a person who did that on 3 different occasions to 3 different people? You think that 3 strikes thing is too hard? It's too harsh? Which one of those people was your grandmother? The grandmother that raised you, the grandmother that loved you, the grandmother that took care of you, the grandmother that protected you, the grandmother that taught you everything, the grandmother that had the biggest impression on you than any other person that had in their lives, the only one who ever loved you. They took your grandmother out. You probably wouldn't care if it was the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd offense. Yeah, not only do I want them to do life in prison, I want them to have the death penalty. So I don't know. 3 strikes. 3 strikes. I don't know. When it hits home, it get different. It get mad different. Please make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is the Daily Go Get Mism Show. Pretty Tuesday is the day. And we're talking about the good and bad second chance and the third strike. The good and the bad second chance and the third strike. Good and the bad and good and the bad second chance and the third strike, baby. So yeah, the third strike. Is the third strike too harsh? Is the third strike too lenient? Well, you know, in baseball, you can get a third strike and you out. Next batter up. Or you can get a second strike. You can be on your second strike. And as long as you keep hitting the pitches with the bat, you can foul for the rest of the game. You can hold up an entire inning because the pitcher keeps throwing to you and you keep nicking the ball and the ball fails to be, knocked out of play. So you only on your second strike, but you fouling and fouling and fouling. So you've actually been thrown double-digit pitches. Double-digit pitches. But you still only on your second strike. Well, you know what I equate that to? I equate that to deciding exactly what the second strike is. Like, I don't want all of these strikes to count because I know if I get to that third strike, then I'm obligated to get rid of the person, get them up out of there. And I might not be willing to do that. So the first strike and the second strike are clear. They pitched you the ball. It was either right over the plate or you swung at it and missed. Totally missed the ball. So you're on that third strike and then you're going to be out. Next batter up. But these next pitches, you kept hitting it with the bat. Maybe you popped it. Maybe you hit the ball out of the park, but out of play also. Foul ball. Popped it up behind you. Foul ball. The catchers can't get to the ball to catch the ball so you can be out for that third strike. They can't get you out. And maybe you're keeping a person in the game, keeping them at the plate by deciding what's a strike and what's not. So these are, if you do this again, then you're out. But if you do this other little stuff, then I can keep you in here. That other little stuff may be way worse when you add them all up to the actual strikes. Friendly game of little baseball. A little friendly game of baseball. Y'all know the story of the great Casey at bat? Casey at the bat. The great Casey has struck out. Y'all know the story of the great Casey at the bat. Casey was such a good hitter. He was such a great batter that he let the first two strikes just go by him because he was so confident that all he needed was one strike and he would hit a home run or at least get a hit. And everybody else was just as confident in Casey and his hitting ability. But Casey let those first two strikes go. He didn't even try to hit him. Didn't line up the bat. He sat there and let the pitcher pitch him. Strike one, strike two. Let's get to that. Hold on. Let's get to the case he had the bat. Let's see. Come on, man. Just give me the damn poem. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Casey at the bat. 1888. This was written by Ernest Lawrence Thayer. And Ernest Thayer was born on August 14th, 1863, in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Okay, the outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2, but one inning more to play. And then when Casey died at first and Barrows did the same, a pall-like silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A staggering few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. Oh, wait. A staggering few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought, if only Casey could but get a whack at that, we'd put up even more money. Now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a hoodoo while the latter was a cake. So upon the stricken multitude grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn let dive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a hugging third. Then from the 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley and it rattled in the deli. Rattled in the dell. It pounded on the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place, and there was pride in Casey's bearing, and smile lit Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his bat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance flashed in Casey's eye. A sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching in a haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unbeaten sped. That ain't my style, said Casey. Strike one, the umpire said. You know, see, he's letting the ball go by. From the benches, black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him, umpire, shouted someone on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He styled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the dun spear flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, strike two. Fraud, cried the maddened thousands An echo answered, fraud. But one scornful look from Casey and the audience was awed. And they saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer was gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball. And now let's go. Let's it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favorite land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and someone's hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Sorry, y'all, if y'all didn't dig that poem. I learned that poem, I don't know, maybe, I think I learned that poem in 7th grade or something like that. But I thought it was interesting because Casey was arrogant. So he figured, man, I'm gonna let the first 2 strikes go by. I don't care about that because I'm about to tear this thing out the frame for the 3rd strike. Well, we might let that happen in our lives with people that we either enable or disable. The 3rd strike shouldn't really sound like that much of a punishment when you really think about about the way that the first violation and the second violation might have really been bad enough for you to take him out of there. But we gave him 3 strikes. The 3-strike rule. Friendly game of baseball. The mighty Casey has struck out. Oh, somewhere in this favorite land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light, and somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. The 3-strike rule. Have you employed that in your life? Have you ever let somebody have 3 strikes in your life? You gave them 1 chance. The first chance doesn't even count because you're not looking for any type of violation. But you let them get away with the second chance. You gave them the second chance because you figure, well, I don't want to be petty. This is my person. This is my man. This is my woman. This is my spouse. This is my fam here. And you give them another chance, the second chance. Well, then the 3rd strike, like after the second chance, don't you have to move on the 3rd strike? Don't you have to do something different after they strike out? After the 3rd strike, don't you have to do something? Well, then we have to talk about those foul balls because you might not want to do something about it. You might not want to do something about it. It's a judgment call, baby. Sometimes we on it like that. A lot of times we're not. But at some point, we're going to have to take accountability for what we allow in our lives and what we disallow in our lives. It's all on you. My old dad said, how you live your life is all on you, son. And I believe him. I believe. All right. Let's get to these birthday shout outs, yo. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious November 22nd. And they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get. By the way, this is the last day of Scorpio. Show no shame. Rock it, baby. Y'all had a good run, Scorpios. Y'all really represented this time. Y'all really did from September 20. From October 23rd all the way to November 22nd. Do the damn thing. All right, number one out the box, Mia Frank. Happy birthday to you. Going all the way back to the 1986, my girl Mia. And also Sonia Jarman. Happy birthday to you. And Kareem Gaddafi Bey Muhammad turning 59 years old today. And Miss Rocky Hunter. Happy birthday to you. And Freddie Peace Asakpa turning 48 years old today. And Marie Jain turning 34 years old today. And Nana Adwoa Blessing turning 29 years old today, and Triola James turning 43 years old today, and Kiki Bijou Jabala turning 34 years old today, and last but not least, I didn't realize she was this much younger than my mom, Miss Brenda Jones. Happy birthday to you, Miss Jones. Mrs. Jones. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all and anyone else out there who shares this birthday on this glorious November 22nd, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up, but don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, the rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, man, listen. Good and bad second chances. Well, you know them when you see them. And you definitely will know them even more when you feel them. Now, the choice is yours about whether to give somebody a first chance, second chance, third strike, and all of that kind of stuff. But it's going to be all on you. You're going to be the one to feel it. You're going to be the one to feel it, man. I mean, our choices, they govern the way that the outcomes of our lives happen. You know what I mean? It can't always be somebody else's fault, because sometimes we are the person who is the manipulative one, who is the one cunning and so sly and fox-like. Yes, the sly fox. Speaking of sly fox, how did foxes get such a reputation for being sly when they really kind of like punkish? Foxes are punkish. They're like a little dog. They don't even, they don't bark. They don't, I don't know. I'm like, you mean to tell me a rooster couldn't beat a fox? Roosters can beat dogs. You mean to tell me a rooster, you ain't gonna tell me a fox can beat a rooster. You ain't gonna tell me. All right, anyway. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow night for another Daily Go Get a Mism show. So make sure y'all come through on Thanksgiving Eve, and we're going to do the damn thing. Love is love, baby. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. So we're going to get back at you. So Blog Talk, we're going to get you out of here. Yeah. And for my YouTubers, you know just how we do, but thanks for coming on through. Blog Talk Radio. I swear it never fails. And for my YouTubers, you know just how we do, but thanks for coming on through. See you on the other side, my boobers. Peace, y'all.